Hello world, it's being referred to as the biggest breach of all time. 3.27 billion clear-text username and password combinations have been made available for sale for just $2. Should you scramble to change all of your passwords, or is this even a big deal at all? That's coming up in this video where we break down and dissect cybersecurity-related tech news. The billions of username and password combinations were made available for sale on a website called Raid Forums. Raid Forums describe themselves as a database sharing and marketplace forum. Grey hats at best. The password dump was named Comb by the seller, that's collection of many breaches, named as such because this password dump isn't necessarily anything new, it is just a collection of many breaches, as per the name. This comprises a lot of smaller breaches conveniently packaged together in a single database. For just $2, the seller was also providing a set of tools for searching, sorting, and deduping the stash. Given this is just a collection of many breaches, pretty much all of the data included in this dump is already public. Rather amusingly, the user who posted this stash for sale, one Mr. Singularity, received a lot of hate from the Raid Forums community. He was castigated by fellow forum members and downvoted to oblivion, apparently because the dump was of really low quality. That's the problem with password dumps. There's a trade-off of quality over quantity. If a lot of these username and password combos have already been in the wild for a good amount of time, they wane in value to someone of malicious intent. The usefulness of knowing someone's Club Penguin password from 2005 won't be quite as valuable as a more recent username password combo from a higher value website. However, the data contained in this breach isn't without use to lawbreakers. Whilst a lot of the username and password combos may be outdated and not applicable anymore to the site from which they were leaked, massive breaches like this are of great use for criminals in credential stuffing attacks. A credential stuffing attack takes advantage of the fact that many people regularly reuse usernames and passwords across multiple websites. For example, let's do the maths. If a criminal had, let's say, 1 billion random username and password combinations, and just 1% of those usernames corresponded to, let's say, a Spotify account, and 1% of that 1% reused the same password that was included in the original leak, then a criminal would end up with 100,000 Spotify accounts, which could then be sold on the dark web. Of course, the maths is a little fuzzy and those percentages probably don't line up with reality, but you get the idea. Of course, as you can imagine, it would be pretty time consuming to try 1 billion logins, so bots would have to be employed to do that kind of thing. In fact, we don't have to just imagine this kind of hack, because this actually happened. Within the last few weeks, Spotify suffered a credential stuffing attack in which 100,000 accounts were compromised. In cases like this, the best course of action for Spotify is just to send en masse password reset links, which is what they did. There isn't really much else that can be done. I saw a BBC article about a woman who communicated with her Spotify hacker via song names. It's kinda cringe, though I'll leave a link to it down below. I do reckon it's quite interesting to see how mainstream media covers things like this, usually saturated with sensationalism and devoid of technicality. The best course of action for me and you to avoid becoming victim to a credential stuffing attack is simply the usual boring 2FA combined with a password manager, but I'm not gonna give you that speech. Though you can quite easily check if any of your emails or passwords have been included in a breach, you're probably familiar with haveibeenpwned.com, whereby you just enter your email address and it'll cross-reference it with a bunch of leaked databases to see if you've been a victim to a data leak. Though a new feature in Chrome released just a few weeks ago goes a little bit further. In Chrome settings, you'll find a brand new button called Safety Check. By tapping Check Now, it'll search through breached databases to see if any of your saved passwords have been leaked. The Comb dump was composed of major leaks from Netflix, Hotmail, Yahoo, etc. According to Cyber News, there are about 200 million Gmail addresses and passwords contained in this dump alone. As for Mr. Singularity, he was eventually banned by Raid Forum moderators for leaking hidden content. I'm not quite sure what that means. After all, as I understand it, Raid Forums is meant to be a marketplace for selling hidden content, though I can't seem to find much clarification on what he did wrong according to the moderators. One thing we do have clarification on, though, is that Maltronics has a delicious selection of penetration testing gear. Run by myself, our gear is used worldwide in over 103 countries by hobbyists and penetration testers alike. You can find more at the link in the video description. If you want to see more of this kind of video, make sure to let me know by hitting a like, subscribe, and do turn on sub notifications so you don't miss any juicy cyber news. Also, for behind the scenes footage, make sure to follow me on Instagram. As always, sources will be linked in the description. Stay tuned for more hacking videos. Have a good one.